Welcome back, episode 8 of Build a Championship Fantasy Team Around X Player. Obviously, 1 through 7, they're on the board right now. McCaffrey, Hill, Lamb, Jefferson, Chase, Robinson, St. Brown. Go back, give those a look if you have one of those ADPs. If not, if your ADP is here at 8, where Breece Hall is looking to go, and you're feeling like you're Breece Hall, that's your guy for round 1, stick around. We're going to build a championship roster around him. Some housekeeping before, as always, it's going to be the same roster as all the other videos. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, 2 flex, kicker, defense, bench. And again, as always, we are doing half PPR. So remember, full PPR, your standard, your rosters are different. Keep that in mind. Obviously, the ranks, the ADPs, all that good stuff, that's all going to change for your leagues. But we're doing 10-man, half PPR. Breece Hall is your guy. Breece Hall is one of those guys that I'm excited for this year. I had him his rookie year, and now getting him with Aaron Rodgers, I'm very excited for. I don't draft 8 in any of my leagues, but I do draft 7 of my home league. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is off the board, some other things don't fall my way, Breece Hall is the guy I'm probably going to take. He's a really good running back. Getting a running back like him at this point gets you a solid running back 1, and you get a really quick turnaround after this in the second round. Get another great player. So I'm excited to see what happens. And we're just going to jump right into this draft. We will take Breece Hall at 8, and let's see what the second round gives us. There it is. All right. So a new player. We've obviously done the building championship team around guys in the ADPs, the first 7. We've never had Saquon Barkley make it back to us. So the question is, do you take Saquon Barkley? For me, I think the answer is honestly no. I like Saquon Barkley overall. But if you're going to ask me, do I question him? Do I like him more than Travis Etienne? The answer is no. Now, I like him better than Kyron Williams and Derrick Henry, especially since the news just came out when I'm recording this that Kyron Williams is going to be his punt returner, according to Sean McVay. If that happens, I have a lot of questions for Sean McVay. But yeah, Saquon Barkley is not a guy that I'm really super stoked about. I think he's a good player. I just don't know where he fits in with the Eagles. I know they definitely like to run the ball, but I don't know, like, goal to go situations. Is that still Jalen Hurts' place? Is that his place? Like, where does that work out? Injuries, how is that going to work out? I don't know. I have too many questions for him. So I'm not looking Saquon Barkley here. Not really even looking Marvin Harrison. I've said those reasons why I don't trust him to get off to a very good start his rookie season. Nakua, I think he's going to regress a little bit. So I think the move here is indeed Travis Etienne. So we'll take him here for the second pick, and we'll see who makes it back to us in round 3. Obviously, a long wait now once you get to the end, but we'll have a nice little wraparound quick 2 in round 4. But as for round 3, this is what the draft's looking like. It looks like Pacheco surprisingly made it back to us. Deebo Samuel, Sam Laporta, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs. For me here, I can see why people would take Isaiah Pacheco or Deebo Samuel. For me, I'm not taking Laporta. I think it's too early for him. I think I don't think he's that much of a difference maker at tight end compared to other tight ends to rationalize taking him here in the 3rd. Quarterbacks, I think it's a little too early, especially I'm not super sold on Jalen Hurts. I want to see what that tush push looks like with somebody else, if they can do it as successfully without Jason Kelsey. So Patrick Mahomes I like, but not here either. So for me, we did just take 2 running backs. Obviously, they have the same bye week 12. I'm not too worried about that. For me, I am here going to go with 3rd running back, though. I think running backs, it's not too bad to load up on one. We have a quick turnaround in round 4. I think we could still get a really good wide receiver in round 4 as well. On top of all that, you can never really have too much running backs or too many running backs. And you look at how the rest of the league is shaping up, especially in this draft. Only Team 1, Team 4, and Team 10 have even 2 running backs. Obviously, Team 10 might take one at then round 3, but I doubt it. it's always nice to be the guy who has stockpiled more at one position. Like if somebody needs a running back, they have to come to you. With two flexes too, I think it's great. It's nice to have a different bye than the bye week 12s that you can rely on. So when bye week 12 comes, if you do need that win, you do have a really good option as well. Pacheco's a great pass catcher, and as much as I like Deebo Samuel overall as a player, I don't trust that offense until I hear the status of Trent Williams. So if the status comes back, if we hear after the video comes out that Trent Williams is back, he's to go, his contract is solved, I feel perfectly fine with taking Deebo Samuel there, and I probably would. But at this moment, right now, I'm going to take a chance, quote unquote, chance on receiver because you can get a good amount later. I'm going to take Pacheco right here and not worry about it. So we have 3 running backs coming back to us in round 4. And this is not what I was hoping. I was hoping Nico Collins would make it back to us. I was hoping Team 9 would take a running back like Rashad White. They did not. So now the question is, do you take your wide receiver 1 here or do you wait? And for me, looking at the next round, it's going to be Alvin Kamara, tight ends, Zay Flowers, Tank Dell. I love those guys. They can't be your wide receiver 1. And I understand Jalen Waddle or DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp themselves are not going to be great wide receiver 1s. But I think it's a lot less dire. Right here, I'm going Cooper Kupp all the way. He's the one guy here that has shown he can be a wide receiver 1. I think he's the best option here. I don't trust Stephonte at all. I don't think anybody should with all the shenanigans he pulls on the field, especially now as, in a very good wide receiver trio there with Collins and Tank Dell. So I don't buy it. So we'll go Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round, and it made its way back to us in the 4th. Kamara White went late. Boy, those are great values there in the middle of the 5th round. But we have it back to us. We have Kenneth Walker, C.J. Stroud, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, Anthony Richardson, Tank Dell, Amari Cooper. This is a tough place to be too, just because Tank Dell, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, I think those are great values. But those are probably going to make it back to us. So I think this is a perfect place to go tight end, honestly. I like C.J. Stroud, but again, as I've said before, I find it hard. I think his ceiling is top 5, so I don't think we should be drafting at his ceiling. So I think it comes down to who do you like more, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid. For me, I'm kicking out Kincaid because in goal situations, we know Josh Allen's going to want to run that ball. So who do you trust more, Trey McBride or Mark Andrews? Obviously, Trey McBride last year, PPR 7. Mark Andrews, PPR 15. Granted, he only played 10 games, but for me, I'm going Mark Andrews, right? Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson's guy. He's an absolute stud, and he should come back stronger. Derrick Henry should be able to open up the passing game more for them as well. I think he's a good option there. So we will see where it comes, and as we wrap around to the 6th round, that's exactly what I like to see. We have those receivers still there for us. Tank Dell, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, and this is a place where I love to be. Again, we did wait till round 4 to get a receiver and round 6 to get our second receiver. But, we have a chance to have our wide receiving group be, Cooper Kupp and one of Tank Dell, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins. I think that's an absolute win, right? It's not going to be the strongest in the league, but it's certainly going to be not one of the weakest, and it's going to be good enough. You know that league mate in your league, right? They're going to have one receiver or maybe 2, but they're kind of weak and they're round 5 or 6. So I think this is perfectly fine. Out of all these, again, Tank Dell is in a very congested situation. T. Higgins, I just don't like as much as Amari Cooper, to be quite honest with you. So we're going to take Amari Cooper in the 6th round here. I think that's an absolutely great value. Obviously, wide receiving core isn't as good as it has been in the past, but again, you have 3 stud running backs, a stud tight end, and Cooper Kupp and Amari Cooper, right? Again, not the best wide receiver room, but you're perfectly fine with it. So it's made its way back to us again here in the 7th round, and we got some decision to make. Obviously, Kyle Pitts fell to us. That's not too bad, but obviously already have Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, Najee Harris, Kyler Murray, Evan Ingram, Rome Odunze, Jaden Reed, Raheem Mostert, Xavier Worthy, Dak Prescott. This is a real tough place for me because I think at this point you're going to want a wide receiver. I don't think Najee Harris gives you a ton. as a running back 4 here. I think there are certain scenarios where I love taking Najee Harris here, but I'd like to see some more shoring up of that wide receiver core, or are you getting an elite quarterback? So I'm not sold on him. Keenan Allen, Romo Dunze, we don't know what Chicago's passing attack is going to look like. I love Keenan Allen. You'll never meet a bigger Keenan Allen fan, but I can't trust him or Dunze. Obviously, we can't have those tight ends. Jaden Reed, uh, I'm not even thinking about. I'm not trusting this Packers attack. I think they're going to spread the ball out too much for anybody to be consistent. Raheem Mostert, again, I think he's the same as Najee Harris. I don't think he brings you enough as a running back 4 to rationalize being a 7th-round pick here, especially with the quick wraparound. So for me, I think it's an easy call here. I'm not a huge fan of him overall, but I do think it's Kyler Murray. The times he's played 14 more games, you're seeing the PPR finishes there 10, 3, and 6. He's a very good quarterback. I think he gives you the most out of anybody here. One of the things I would also say, if you want to, also feel free at this spot. I would feel perfectly fine reaching for Dak Prescott. I personally like the upside with Kyler Murray a little more, but I can see that rationale being used as well because, as you know, I'm a huge Chris Godwin fan. I think he's absolutely the move next round, but I think it's a little too early to take him here. So I'm going to take Kyler Murray here. A little something different, too. We haven't taken him yet in any of these mock drafts, and wouldn't you know it, he makes it back to us, that being Chris Godwin. So, it's a little tough, right? There are some places like Mark Andrews in the 5th and Kyler Murray here in the 7th and in the 8th here that, if guys don't fall, if it goes exactly according to ADP, you are going to be doing some reaching, and that does hurt a little bit. But I mean, you guys know every single fantasy draft. I mean, nobody's going to go exactly at ADP. You have at least 2 crazy people in your league that are going high and low. So guys will definitely fall to you. And even then, I mean, this is still a very good draft. I have no problems with this at all. So we take Chris Godwin the 8th. We now have the 9th-round pick for us. And, I mean, as much as there has been some reaches and not some reaches here, you got a full lineup. You got a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, 2 flexes. And your flexes are 1 running back, 1 wide receiver. 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. You got everything covered, and that's great. You don't have to worry about going one certain way or not going one certain way. So that makes this pick easier here. And for me, he's questionable. I understand it with his ankle, and I understand he's got some off the field issues. Jordan Addison has to be the pick here, in my opinion. He's a fantastic talent when he's on the field, when he can get his head out of his rear end in terms of driving while intoxicated right after a teammate unfortunately had that accident. Rest in peace. But we're going to take Jordan Addison here. He's a great player. And, hopefully he'll be on the field. And then round 10, Nick Chubb goes. That sucks a little bit. We all know how much I love Nick Chubb. But here we have 3 good running backs. And I think here's a fairly good place, at least for me. I think it's either to take Jonathan Brooks or Austin Eckler. For me personally, I'm going to lean a little bit towards Jonathan Brooks. I think down the stretch, he'll be a little better than Austin Eckler. And I think he'll give you a better chance of getting a boom than Austin Eckler would. So that's a good first 10 rounds for me, in my opinion. You get a little bit of everything. Got a good draft. Got Jordan Addison. I think he's incredible talent to land in the 9th round. And as we come around to our spot again in the 11th round, still got a lot of talent here. And this is a place where if you're waiting on quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, love him here in the 11th or 10th round. I also love Jaden Daniels. I think those are immense talents. So if you're watching our videos and see me taking quarterbacks earlier sometimes, understand you can definitely win on quarterback. Justin Herbert's way down. You can see Jared Goff down here as well. Baker Mayfield, people didn't talk about him at all last year in fantasy. I think he finished top 10. He's pretty much going undrafted in the last round. So feel free to just let them fall to you if you really want to. But here, we got some talent, but Brian Thomas falls a little bit. I think he's a great talent, great wide receiver. I think you absolutely take him there when he's there. And then as for the running back, Jerome Ford, somebody already took Nick Chubb. Who knows how he comes back? Jerome Ford, we know at least will be the starter for 4 weeks. He's an absolute stud. And again, for the first 4 weeks, who knows what happens? Who knows how Nick Chubb comes back, right? We don't know how he's going to come back talent wise, strength wise. He'll probably come back very good and very ready to go. But that's a piece that, hey, maybe Team 9 took him right here. Team 9 is James Conner, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Blake Corum. A lot of question marks there with injuries with James Conner. Obviously, Najee Harris, nothing special. Aaron Jones has injury problems. Nick Chubb come back from an injury. Blake Corum, not the starter. So Jerome Ford is a guy you could sell to him after week 4 or maybe week 5 and say, hey, you want a cushion? You want to make sure you have a running back 1 for Cleveland? Here you go. Get something for him. So now we come around 13th round. We got 3 rounds left. We got a good looking team. You have a lot of wide receivers, a lot of running backs, and here I think you take the guy who's available, who in my opinion is the best available, and that's Chuba Hubbard. We took Jonathan Brooks. I understand. Some people might not want to double up on the backfield of the Carolina Panthers. I think that's completely fair. But what people are forgetting is that Jonathan Brooks is on the PUP list. That means for 4 weeks, at least, for 4 weeks, you can put him on the IR. You don't lose a roster spot. And for 4 weeks, you have a running back 1 in Chuba Hubbard. We know he can catch passes out of the backfield. So I know, they're probably not going to be running the ball because they will be losing a lot of games, but Chuba Hubbard is a starting running back. Who knows? Maybe somebody has catastrophes in week 1, 2, and 3. Injury. You can ship off Hubbard. Somebody will take him. I guarantee it. So now we got a good looking roster here. It's all about just filling them in with flyers. So we'll do this quick and we'll stay true to form and we'll take the flyers that we are big fans of. So in the 14th round here, we'll take my guy, Jacoby Myers. Actually, no, we won't. We'll take Mike Williams, throw a flyer in a New York Jet. I think he could do very well with Aaron Rodgers. He has to build that trust and that rapport, though. Aaron Rodgers only throws the wide receivers he trusts. If he doesn't trust Mike Williams, that's going to be a problem. But I think he should. And in the 15th round, who else? Tyler Algier. Backup, again, I've talked about it so many times. Backup to Bijan Robinson. He has the talent. If something happens to Bijan Robinson, you now have a running back 1. You have an elite running back 1. I will say it again. You have an elite running back 1. He's an incredible talent. So there's that team around Bijan Robinson. You could see we went running back the first 3 rounds, still got a good all-around team. We went Breece Hall in the first, Etienne in the second, Pacheco and Kupp in the third and fourth, Mark Andrews and Amari Cooper in the 5th and 6th, Kyler Murray and Chris Godwin in the 7th and 8th, Jordan Addison and Jonathan Brooks in the 9th and 10th, Brian Thomas and Jerome Ford in the 11th and 12th, Chuba Hubbard and Mike Williams in the 13th and 14th, and Algier in the 15th. And again, you look at that starting lineup. We're talking about building a championship roster. You need depth. Got a playmaking quarterback. Don't have to worry about him. Plug and play. Hall, Etienne, plug and play. You're not changing them at all until week 12 comes up or via injury. Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, same thing. Andrews, same thing. Pacheco, same thing. Pacheco can be a heck of a trade piece too. You probably, come midseason, you could very arguably have 3 running back 1s. One of them can be trade bait, whichever one you don't like. Somebody will take them, or you can store them all. Chris Godwin, we have in a flex. He'll be back to the slot this year again. Expect him to get probably 1,000 yards or close to it. And then on the bench, Jordan Addison, we know who he is. Again, Justin Jefferson goes down. You got a piece there. Jonathan Brooks and Chuba Hubbard. Anything happens to one of them, you have an RB1 that can catch passes. Brian Thomas, good talent. Jerome Ford, again. Chubb not coming back 100%. You have him. Even if he does, you got him for the first 4 weeks. That's a huge plus. Mike Williams is the start at the board. And again, Algier, again, if Bijan goes down. So it's all about mitigating risk. And this team is deep, mitigates risk. And you know what? Again, if you're looking at the wide receivers and you're saying, not a huge fan, you can always make those trades. I guarantee you one of these teams like Team 3 or Team 5 is going to get to the end of the draft and go, crap, I do not like my running backs. And that's where you pounce. So with that being said, that's how you build a championship roster around Breece Hall. It's really simple. If you've been watching all these, a lot of these players are coming up multiple times, and it's for a reason. A lot of these guys have huge value that nobody is paying attention to. And I would please urge you, even if you're not at all these picks, Go through all these videos, maybe even just go to the middle and the end and see what the picks are, because these players are coming up time and time again. They will come up time and time again at the end of the season. We did a great job last season with predicting that. I know we're doing a great job again for you. So because of that, drop a like, subscribe, and watch all the other videos and let us know. Who is your flyer that you don't think we've covered on yet?